Recording has
Oh, wait.
started.
Sorry.
Lol.
This is episode 3 of Xendergarten, and
4.
I'm here with... Oh no, stop recording. Good morning, guys, gals, and goobers. This is episode 4 of Xendergarten. I'm DX, and I'm here with No Science Today, Xeno the Human, Riffy, User-1, Ground, who is drunk, Inthar, and Dead Shaman. Did I do it right?
Yes, you did it great.
Thank you for that introduction.
Let's go.
Also, I am not the only one who's drunk.
Yeah, I'm also drunk.
Just a little bit. Funny thing about this is that Dead Shaman is from Russia. I'm from Wisconsin in the US. Both of those places are known for alcoholism.
Yay.
I am part Irish, so I don't know if that counts.
That definitely counts. Like 100% counts.
I am a real human.
I am
true.
respecting Russian culture by drinking vodka straight and then drinking water afterwards because I can't handle just straight vodka.
You see, my brain is just weird, so I might as well be drunk. The only way I get around in life is by making sure my intrusive thoughts don't win.
Incredible.
What are your intrusive thoughts?
Do you think I would tell you on a podcast?
Sure thing.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Okay, yeah, sure thing, guy. Yeah, no, that's okay, yeah. My intrusive thoughts are that sometimes when I see my recorder, I want to play Never Gonna Give You Up, and I think that's pretty...
Didn't you do that before the
pretty-
podcast?
No. Wait, yes. No. Yes. Go to jail.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Let's go.
Do not collect $200. Collect $201. That's how you really get them.
Unless you, Hey, life hack, if you temper out 2 over 1 in real life, you can get infinite money, because then 1 is the same as 2, which is the same as 4, which is the same as 8. So if you have $1, you can buy anything.
Dude, that is such a good life hack.
I think that's how the 2000-day crash happened.
What is the best temperament that tempers out the octave? There's gotta be... Wait, no, never mind, it's a prime. So you'd have to do something a little weird in order to temper out a prime.
You'd have to use some weird thing like an edo.
I think it could work if you use a subgroup temperament.
Yeah, like Owen Pierce.
You cannot use an edo to support a temperament tempering out 2 over 1. I mean, you can use a different pattern val, but just the thought of tempering out 2 over 1 and then trying to find an edo that does that just makes me think of equal divisions of what? What are we equally dividing? Does that even exist? That's just where my mind goes with that.
That actually brings up an interesting question. What would the val be if you're using an edo's second best octave? It has 2 second best octaves. So what would the A val be for an octave, for an edo? In the 1A val, would it temper out the octave, or would the octave be 2400 cents?
Well, the temperament search thingy defines it as 1 step lower, so 31A.
That's probably just a rounding thing in the JavaScript. I wouldn't trust that as a definitive anything.
To be honest, I was thinking about it, and the conclusion, the definitive conclusion is that, to be honest, it can be other way, and there is no real way to decide. So you might just as well accept one of the possibilities and say that this possibility is the one, the correct one.
Or even better, if you use an A vowel, then you get what's called Schrodinger's octave, where the octave is simultaneously a step below and a step above until you observe it, and then it just falls to one of the 2 states.
There we go. All right. I think we've invented a new type of temperament here.
Yeah, we kind of already have like the split fifth stuff, like where 3/1 like exists in two different versions, in more sharp and more flat one.
Oh yeah, the dual 3 temperaments.
Dual fifth.
Yeah, I use some of those. What I like about dual 3 temperaments is that, so basically, when I'm using the 2-3-5 lattice, I prefer it to have sharp fifths, and when using the 2-3-7 lattice, I prefer flat fifths, just to improve the melodic properties, narrowing, keeping the semitone around as close as possible to like 80 cents or so.
Yeah, understandable.
And keeping the comma step as close as possible to like 40 cents. So a dual fifth, a dual 3 temperament would be great for that. The problem is it requires big edos to do well, obviously.
True.
47 is the first edo to have 2 diatonic fifths, and it is not great for that.
47 edo is a good tuning if you try hard enough.
Well, probably,
Anything
but
is.
the biggest edo I use, I think that 46 is a pretty solid limit for me right now. I just don't see that compelling of a reason to go above it.
Well, anyways, the thing I wanted to say is that maybe it's the time for dual octave temperaments.
I'll do you
That
one
is
better.
genius.
We need to invent dual unison temperaments.
Don't you dare.
Actually, ironically, that already exists because a lot of synthesizers have a unison option where it plays oscillators above and below the root pitch to thicken the sound. So people literally already invented like quadruple, quintuple, septuple unison temperaments without realizing it.
Do you mean like the chorus effect?
Yeah, unison detune. The chorus effect does kind of use unison detune. The problem with having a unison of anything other than 0 cents is that you can just stack it a bunch of times to get any interval you want, and it would still be considered a unison. So what you'd probably have to do is this concept that I've been experimenting with for my hopefully possibly someday coming out Zen harmonic DAW, where you can specify dimensions that are not necessarily related to any prime. Because regular temperament theory kind of relies on having one version for each dimension that corresponds to a certain prime, or difference between primes, or 2 primes multiplied, etc. But I wanted to use, say, Mavilla temperament, but also have a good prime 3 that requires 2 different dimensions. The temperament considers a very flat fifth to be a 3-2, just like a just 3-2. So I have to have 2 different dimensions that kind of correspond to the same prime, but not really. Guys, how are we talking so much before we started recording and now everyone is silent?
Ice cream.
It's because I didn't get to talk about the lunch table traditions that I had in middle school.
Oh yeah, we should probably go over
We were talking
this.
about food, and
Oh shoot, I know. Starving artist drinking vodka as a meal.
yeah. For context, listeners, my friend is an art major, and they don't have a ton of money as a college student, too, so they mainly rely on family and commissions. So when they go out to buy their own food, they sometimes have an abnormal eating pattern and abnormal tastes. For example, one time for breakfast, they had a flavored bottle of vodka and a bowl of cereal. And
I'm pretty sure that's just alcoholism.
yeah. We're going to look over that to the tangent I was going to make now about how in middle school, the lunch tables I was at, because boys are some of the strangest creatures on the planet.
As a boy, I can agree with that statement.
Yeah. It was almost like a religious ritual in a way, where we would all laugh our butts off from combining random foods and drinks into a water bottle, shaking it up, and daring people to, drink it.
That
And this was not popular among the lunch aides, so we had to have like serious discussions with one another about like the ethics and the like logistics of doing this regularly.
Ethics and logistics.
Incredible.
I like how this is literally just a food analog of like microtonalists exploring all these alternative tuning stuff, and then like the 12 haters coming in and being like, you can't do that.
Okay, but I don't think the 12 haters have to clean up.
Microtonality is meant to sound like something. Combining a bunch of food in a bottle is meant to make you puke. Microtonality is not. And that is something that I know may be controversial among the 12 veto barbarians of the world, but it had to be said. You just can't beat the lovely thirds of 31 and 34 EDO.
I love the term 12 Edo barbarians.
If I had the ability to make someone feel like they were going to throw up by playing a certain combination of notes, I would be so happy to have that ability. I would be
True.
so happy to have something that's so dissonant that it could shake someone's stomach.
Don't worry, I've been in school choirs. It's definitely possible.
Oh boy. Speaking of which, I think it's time for another shot.
Yes. The connection between school choirs and alcoholism is very obvious, I see.
You joke, but this is not a joke.
Ground drunking simulator.
We should call this ground becoming ungrounded.
Incredible.
That is incredible. Hey, you were telling us about what you were gonna do. Since Dead Shaman and I are drinking, what are you gonna do to celebrate episode?
I'm eating
I
popcorn.
am going to eat practically frozen solid leftover ice cream from Dairy Queen.
Nice.
I have a funny story about Dairy Queen.
Actually, what is Dairy Queen?
I feel like I just really want to get this point across, even though it's definitely like not a funny story or point. But I'm going to say it anyway.
I
so,
love pineapple pizza.
Do we want to talk about pineapple on pizza or?
Oh, absolutely! Gosh dang,
No.
not. There is no
Okay.
way we're not doing that.
All right.
It's good when it's good, but when it's bad, it's bad.
We just said we're not talking about it.
Fact.
Blizzards at Dairy Queen are the medium and large sizes tend to be, a little bit on the large size for like an ice cream dessert. So because of that, I was only allowed to get the mini size as a kid. And one day my mom was driving me home from something and I asked, "Hey, can I get a Blizzard from Dairy Queen?" And she said, "Yeah." And then I asked her, "Can I get a small size, which is slightly larger than the mini?" And the king felt true fear for the first time when I asked for a Blizzard that was not mini-sized.
You're too mini for the small blizzard.
Who was the king? What? The king felt fear for the first time.
I think it's like a TikTok audio or something. I don't know.
Geez, I'm not on TikTok. I'm too busy with my crayons. Speaking of which, I bought crayons. That's pretty cool.
Yum.
I wanted to make a better Xendergarten logo because for the Xendergarten Discord server, I wanted to make it, like a kindergarten sort of drawing with crayons, but I didn't have any crayons because I was in my apartment and I don't know, I don't just keep crayons around my apartment. Is that weird? And so I just mocked it up in Krita.
I was always thinking that you were just like joking about your pronunciation of the word cranes, but you were not. That's actually the way you pronounce it.
Wow, you are so mean.
I'm sorry.
I thought that this was the way that you were supposed to pronounce it. I thought this was the only way to pronounce it for a long time.
I think the new Xendergarten logo should have like eyes and legs.
I'm pretty sure I found out it was a regional thing when my boyfriend made fun of me for how I said crayons. It's like, it's not. If you say crayons but not mayonnaise, I don't think you should really be allowed to have an opinion on this. I say crayons and mayonnaise. It's consistent.
What do you mean? I love mayonnaise.
I say crayons and mayonnaise.
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 I love that. So anyway, I was like, shoot, I really need to make a better Xendergarten Discord server logo, and I'm gonna need actual crayons for this. So when I went to the store to buy alcohol, obviously, I also bought crayons. And I stayed up drunk from the alcohol that I had just bought very late one night, just scribbling Xendergarten logos on a piece of printer paper. And it took me like 20 tries to get a good one. And then after I got a good one that was reasonably acceptable, I like pretty much immediately passed out. And that was how I spent my Saturday.
That almost sounds sad, to be honest.
If I ever get like really bored and decide, you know what, I'm just gonna start writing fiction, I'm gonna use that as the hero origin story. Just like staying up like late at night, like drawing logos. Then you finally drew the logo of truth. And then after you do that, you pass out. Then you enter into like the real dimension where you're able to unlock your true potential. That's a hero origin story right there.
Incredible.
Is the story going to be Zen Harmonics themed? Because I think you could do some interesting stuff with that.
Yes.
It has to be. He has the power to have a J&D of less than 50 cents.
Wait, I had an even dumber idea. Imagine, like, it's actually a My Little Pony fanfiction, and that's how Grounds OC gets her cutie mark.
Oh no.
What would it be? Would it be like...
It would just be like, I don't know.
A bottle of liquor and a crayon.
Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly what it would be.
All right, shoot. Now I gotta draw art of my My Little Pony OC.
I have only had one OC in my life before, and it's hilarious what it was.
Oh, I've had so many. I'm a Tumblr girl.
The one OC that I have had was... I didn't even think about my OC this much because I didn't really use it. But it was an object show OC, if you know what that means.
Oh, like Battle for Dream Island.
Yeah, it was...
Oh, that's the worst.
A piece of sesame chicken.
Look, I am not one to talk, but come on, man.
Nice.
Sesame chickeny.
Nah, his name was just Sesame Chicken. I don't know what I was cooking, but I was in the kitchen.
Like, if it were like a furry or a pony, I'd be like, that's chill. Shoot, you could have made yourself a Wiggles OC. You know, the fifth Wiggle, Jerry. And he's like
Jerry.
green and a half, you know? And it's like, that's better than an object show OC. How dare you?
I had a friend in theater, and she would draw her OC like all over her like libretto books, and on the front of her page was her OC with a giant speech bubble which said, "Wow, you get no b****s."
No.
Oh no.
All right, shoot. Now I have to draw. I gotta use the crayons. I gotta use the crayons to draw the pony with the liquor crayon cutie mark.
Okay, so speaking of OCs, I'm willing to share one intrusive thought that I've had.
Go for it, guy.
It's been an urge to draw ponified versions of microtonalists.
Oh no.
No.
That's pretty
No.
great, actually.
Don't draw a pony version of Savage.
Oh man. Do you do commissions?
Everything in that show is a pun, so now you got to think of like what would a pony pun version of Sevish be? Sad. I can't think of one. I can't think of a pun for this.
Sad fish. He can be like a mermaid
What?
pony. Merman pony.
I think Stephen Weigel called him Seafish once.
So true.
No, Sev Dash. Rainbow Dash's weird cousin that makes
there
bleep
we
bloop
go.
music.
Yep, there we go. Sev Dash.
Hey, Sevish, if you're listening to this, I sincerely apologize. I promise I'm not that weird. Okay, never mind. I am
I'm
weird.
so sorry, Savage.
Hi, Sevish. If you're listening to this, I just have to say that yes, he is that weird. just had to get it. Just had to get it out there, kind of.
Fact.
Just, we got to be transparent on the podcast, much like that vodka.
Oh my god.
I would be transparent, but I haven't figured out the right combination of chemicals to drink to make my skin look like that, so...
Oh my god. I just thought of a pony OC name for a microtonalist. I hate this so much.
It's probably great.
Twining Sparkle for Toby Twining.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
I mean, obviously, Flutter Sky and Steven Peigel were super obvious. Those are the OGs. The OGs of Xendergarten pony-based emojis.
And now we've added Sev Dash.
Right.
I feel like Savage isn't like Rainbow Dash though.
Yeah, he's kind of chill, to be honest. He's like, I literally cannot think of any character from that show that... No, Sevish is Vinyl Scratch, literally. AKA DJ Pwn 3.
I think I remember. I think I have a vague memory of when I was like 13 or 14 years old. I had just gotten into the MLP fandom back in its heyday, and I made like some sort of analysis PNG tuber video in iMovie on my iPod Touch about, I think it was like the identity of DJ Pwn 3 or something. I have to find, I really hope that video still exists somewhere because I have to watch it. And I think if I remember correctly, this was very much in the lol so random phase of internet humor. I can remember, it is burned into my mind, the outro that I had for that video, and it was, call 1-800-I-like-puppies to spin the wheel on the banana for your very own chance to win a free potato plus shipping and handling.
The potato jokes
I
in the
love free potatoes.
2000s
Can I have
and
a free potato?
2010s.
Please, can I have a free potato?
That was not a good period of my life.
I did a similar analysis, but it was on the Scratch forums. You know, Scratch, the programming language for kids.
I'm on the Scratch forums. I made the first
Wow.
microtonal/Zen harmonic music topic in the things I'm making subforum.
Okay, that's actually pretty amazing.
Hold on. All right, I gotta see this.
My username's D2 with an underscore. I'm gonna link it in chat.
I was going to say, I created a random, it was a speculation on the MBTI types of Battle for Dream Island characters, and I didn't know anything about MBTI, so it was really funny.
Why would I expect anything else?
Oh no, Jesus Original. I found it. I haven't been on Scratch in an eternity.
So back in my day, Scratch wasn't even online. It was something that you downloaded. And the first computer I ever had that was like genuinely useful to me was an old Windows XP machine that I think I got from my mom's work or whatever, and it didn't have any internet because I couldn't just run an Ethernet cable across the house because I was a kid and I didn't know how that worked. And so I had this computer with no internet in my room running Windows XP in like 2012 or something. And I tried to install Minecraft and I spent like 4 hours, and my parents were like, you have to get off the computer. And I'm like, but I didn't even have fun this time. And they're like, that's not how that works. And so that's what being an adult is like, I guess. I learned it very early.
Also, D2, I just followed you on Scratch.
Yeah!
I have so many old Scratch projects on that computer. I really hope they're still there because some of them were pretty good, actually.
The only microtonal thing I have related to it was my most recent and probably final project. It was, you can generate, like, the first 20 overtones of a fundamental note, and you can have them play it, like, the same time, or you can play them individually.
The Adventures of Ballman.
Yeah, that was peak. That was peak programming.
You know, come to think of it, I'm pretty sure the online version of Scratch did exist at the time, but I didn't have it because I didn't have any internet on that computer.
How the heck did you download Minecraft if you didn't have any internet? Some kind of black magic?
I unplugged the monitor and the computer and the keyboard and everything, and I brought it all out onto the kitchen table, and I plugged it directly into the router. Just sitting on the kitchen table with my absolute mess of a computer setup for several hours trying to get Minecraft to run on this totally outdated computer. And I tried so hard and I couldn't do it. And you know what? I still have that computer. I'm going to try, now that I know about computers more, to get Minecraft to run on it.
Nice.
Wow, you're really gonna complete the prophecy.
You haven't played Minecraft?
No, of course I've played Minecraft. I just never got it to run on that Windows XP machine.
I used to play a decent amount of Build Battle on my mom's old laptop, and I remember I wasn't the best at it. So sometimes I would just, whenever I was frustrated, I would just type in all caps, "I hate this game," and then leave the lobby.
I hate this game!
You know, back in the I keep forgetting that this was a part of my life, but I used to be way more into Minecraft, like so into it that when my friends got tired of it, I would be like, how the heck can you not see what a brilliant game this is? And ironically, I'm not even that interested anymore, so now I understand probably how they were feeling. But anyway, there was a point in my life where I thought the thing that I was going to be doing in my free time was making videos to be a Minecraft YouTuber, and I can confidently say I'm glad that is not my reality right now.
Now there exists an alternate universe somewhere where Userminusone is the new successor to Dan TDM.
Real.
You know, I am working on becoming a YouTuber. Not a Minecraft YouTuber, mind you. It's a little bit less terrible than that, but not that much less terrible.
I mean, my time management is just complete crap. I don't have time to be a YouTuber on top of also wanting to make music and editing this podcast. So,
yeah, I'm stretched very thin, but you know what they say about being stretched thin is that you can become the head of a drum, I think is what they say.
What doesn't that like require for like you to be like whacked with like a drumstick to like play sound?
I mean, if life is a drumstick, then I get whacked by it every day.
Mm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Getting back to Zen.
I think we all collectively forgot that this is a Zen harmonic podcast, except for Inthar, which was just about to start a topic. I think that's kind of funny.
What's your favorite Edo?
34. No questions asked. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I have so many ifs, ands, or buts that I can't even give a solid answer. It's like, in what context? I switch tuning so much I don't even know.
Yeah, I refuse to have a favorite Edo. I guess if I... See, this is tricky. Like, 7 Edo is one of my favorite sounds, but it's also I also wouldn't say it's my favorite Edo because it's so limited, and the only thing it can do is the 7 Edo sound. But I love that so much that I like to go for that in like also 7 N tunings, multiples of 7 Edo. But in general, I refuse to have like a favorite tuning because I want to have the potential to switch between them. Like when I see artists like Brandon Burns that use almost like a singular tuning the whole way through an album or only like 2 tunings, like I mean, good for them, but I'm going to be the kind of guy that's like always using different tunings in my music. Like always trying to incorporate some new ones over time.
Absolutely.
I just like to go for that variety.
One of the things that I discovered lately is that I can do really subtle tuning changes. Like it doesn't have to be like 31 and 17 was the first song that I did where I changed tunings in the middle of it. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be a lot more subtle, like 32 and 37. That is one where like I listened to it and I'm like, I like the 32 Edo version and I like the 37 Edo version. I can't decide which. And then in Thar here was like, you could probably just use both of them. You do that all the time. And I'm like, that is a genius idea. Why didn't I think of that? Because both of them use a temperament that I created called Flutterpyth, and it's named after the Flutter Sky emoji in the Xendergarten Discord, which originally came from the Zen Harmonic Alliance Discord.
My favorite example of alternating tunings is actually something that Inthar and Ground worked on into their fractal, where you have this really bonkers, like, constant stream of 33, you have this constant stream of 13 EDO notes just hitting you in the face, and then you get actually into the main part of the music, which is in 33.
I forgot that I worked on that. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
I just wanted to say, yeah, it's hard to choose one favorite Edo, but if I really had to choose one for the rest of my life, I would probably choose 31. It's just good.
I like 35 EDO.
I personally really like 34 because it feels like the younger brother of 31 in that it's like somewhat similar in that it's mainly used for its good 5 limit, but it also has different features such as not being a mean tone system and having out of tune 7th harmonics that like make you think about it a little bit more than just your standard everyday 31, which is sort of the starting, a lot of people starting off points for EDOs other than 12 and 24.
That's fair. But not from the point of view of neurodivergency, I just like 31 EDOs are neurodivergent better than 34s. They both have a neurodivergent. And 34 actually have one of my favorite intervals from, which is from 17 Edo, which is the minor third, which is the 17 Edo minor third, which is 4 steps out of 17, which is very close to 20 out of, sorry, the GI ratio of 20 to 17. But I don't, strangely, I don't think, maybe I haven't tried 34 neurotonic much, but I don't think 34 neurotonic benefits that from that minor third nearly as much as the diatonic masters. 31, I just like 31 neurotonic better, and it's interesting, like, on a larger, like, scheme of things, it's interesting how, like, it's fascinating how, like, the, like, different, tonic retains its melodic recognizability while having all those different flavors through all the hardest levels. Like, you have, like, 37, you have the very soft tunings like 37 and 29 either, which I can't really describe the difference except that 37 Edo has a very close to just 13 to 10, while 29 Edo has a better 11 to 10 and 13 to 11, but I can't really
29 Edo actually does have a good 13 to 10. It's the generator in ammonite temperament.
29, not 21, 29. Sorry if I misspoke.
That's all right.
And 21 has a very good 23 to 16 tritone, and another very good JI approximation of a JI near minor third 46 to 39 if I recall correctly, and but I like the inversion better. 39 to 39 to 23, and it also has a good 29 to 16 and 29 to 16, and a good seeker slightly flat 15 to 8 too, of course. And it's 21, I found was strangely concordant. It's really strangely concordant, kind of discordance. It kind of has this really like natural, like flowing river kind of vibe to me.
I have really loved finding the sound that I like in oneirotonic minor chords that use the minor third, which is generated by stacking 2 sub-fourths, or no, 2 super-fifths, I think.
Yes.
And then that with the super-fifth. I had trouble getting into that because to me it kind of just sounded like an inversion, because the sub-fourth sounded like a fourth to me. And so it sounded like an inversion of a different chord. But retraining my brain a little bit to hear those oneirotonic minor chords differently, and major triads as well, has been really great, because truthfully, I very much love that sound. Generally, the threshold for me for chords like that is anything that is closer to neutral than +1, +2 delta rational, which I think that is between the 42 Edo and 29 Edo oneirotonic generators, but I would have to double check. Anyway, it's around there. And that's why for the Tuning of the Month club, which is Mosh right now, I decided to use 29 Edo Mosh, which is generated by a submajor third, which is half of an oneirotonic ammonite super fifth. I'm having a lot of fun with that.
That's a very clever idea.
Something I want to explore more is EDOs that are multiples of 7, and specifically EDOs that are multiples of 7 and 9. And multiples of 7 because how you can expand from 7 EDO as an equalized diatonic system with more pitches. And for 9 EDO, I have a piece that I want to retune that has a really interesting, like, melodic, like, form when you retune it to 9 EDO. And I want to add more, like, complex harmonies to that, so I want to use, like, a higher multiple, like 27.
I am a big 27 Edo person, and I have pretty much never used the 9 Edo subset. And I think the reason for that is a lot of the charm from 9 Edo comes from the fact that it is the smallest Edo with recognizable major and minor triads, which creates a very succinct and simple way of constructing harmony. I love the elegance, and I believe that 12 Tone, the YouTuber, said that if we wanted the most efficiency for expressing emotions in music, instead of using 12 Edo, we should use 9 Edo. And I love the feeling of that, but once you turn that into a contorted tuning of 9 Edo, such as 27, it doesn't really have that same level of elegance. I mean, at that point, if you're looking for another somewhat neutral super diatonic scale, or armatonic scale as I like to call it, you should probably just go for 25 Edo. I've shilled for 25 Edo before. It's got pentagoth. It's great.
Now that I think about it, the piece that I'm using uses a lot of cluster chords, and I think there's, as you said, there's this type of elegance in representing chords simply, and I think experimenting with cluster chords and smaller EDOs could have a really interesting effect.
As a user and enjoyer of 7 Edo, I can confirm that cluster chords in 7 Edo sound absolutely amazing. They sound very shimmery and ethereal to me. One thing that I think is interesting, I don't know if you guys have like interval synesthesia where like different intervals kind of give you like different other certain qualities. Like to me, a lot of neutral and like flat of 12 Edo tending intervals can sound icy to me, like neutral thirds and neutral seconds and stuff like that. And
I think that Adam Fries, also known as Anomaly, has said that the 13th harmonic, the super minor 6th, which is about 840 cents, has an icy quality. And I actually really agree with that. I think it's kind of interesting that you're bringing up like neutral thirds, which, you invert a tridecimal neutral third, you get a tridecimal super minor 6th. It's interesting that you're not the only person who has made that association. And in fact, I have made a similar association in some of my music. I used a very icy sounding timbre to make that effect even stronger in one of my pieces.
yeah, but something I was gonna quickly say is often like neutral like the 3L4S Moss, aka Mosh. When you use like half of a perfect fifth for that, sometimes that sound is really jarring to me. Like having the neutral third there, but like also having a perfect fifth. But for some reason in 7 Edo, it sounds a lot smoother to me. Like something about having that fifth be flatter and jittery kind of like helps the jitteriness of the neutral third lock in a bit more in a weird way. I don't know, something about equalizing diatonic is really a vibe.
I don't know who said this. It might have been you. Someone said that 7 Edo tickles your brain. And I think that's a very strangely accurate thing to say.
I did say that. That was me last episode.
Nice.
I associate 7 EDO with like, it's gonna sound weird, but I associate it with like grooviness, because the first 7 EDO piece I was introduced to, or the first two actually, were from a composer called Five Hideya, and both of them are very like melody centered, use and emphasize percussion a lot. So I like sort of like Pavlovian style associate 7 EDO with like that jazz like rhythmic quality to it.
I think I know what you're talking about. Is it because those particular ones were composed in a sort of like dance style?
Yes, exactly.
On the mass side, I don't have a favorite mass either. I also like the diatonic mass, of course, and the smitonic mass, and these I think are the main like masses which I work in. I try to work in. I worked in neurotonic because mainly tried to specialize in neurotonic because it wasn't 7 notes because and because 7 note scales and 5 note scales were all over. So used the world over, and like they're kind of also they're like less than in that way. So I went for an 8 note scale, which But like 7 note scales are like really strong. Like I find 7 note scales that aren't like too hard. Really like melodically and like contrapuntally strong too. It's kind of like hard to escape fact of my how I perceive music.
My favorite like flavor of moss, just not like the actual moss, is I like very soft versions of 4L2S because they feel like because they're whole tone scales, but they are unique in that they have more than one type of whole tone.
I'd like to make a correction to something that I said earlier in the podcast. When I said that the +1 +2 delta rational oneirotonic minor triad is between the generators of 42 and 29 Edo. The reason I said that is because saying 42 instead of 21 is because I was looking at oneirotonic based mosh tunings, and 21 Edo doesn't have a mosh tuning that fits that description, but 42 does because you double it so you can cut that fifth in
Yeah,
half.
I got that.
I checked my spreadsheet, and the generator for this delta rational triad is 742.1 cents, which is within a rounding error identical to the 76 Edo generator, which is 34 plus 21 plus 21. So it's pretty close to 21 or 42 Edo, but 76 is very close. I have had some interest in 76 Edo before as a SuperPyth tuning because it is basically the 6/5 Eigenmanzo version of SuperPyth. And that's what I like.
Maybe super random. You know how like there is 9 Edo is the first Edo with distinguishable major and minor thirds, and it is capable of functional harmony and considered to be the smallest one to be capable of functional harmony in the way that European music thinks functional harmony should look like. But I just literally like a couple minutes ago I tried to improvise basically a 12 bar blues in 9 Edo, and you know what, it works way better than any functional chord progressions like 2-5-1s and all that kind of jazz. Like I I encourage everyone to give it a try. It sounds really interesting. Just improvise something on a 12 bar blues progression in 9 Edo. It just works for some reason.
I do think it's very interesting how some microtonal things just work.
Sorry.
Even though you wouldn't expect them to.
Didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're feeling the chaos element of this podcast.
I better be. We need a bit more of that going on in here, I think, which was kind of my motivation for doing such a thing as I have just done.
Nice.
Dude, that is crazy. That's crazy.
Man, ground's drifting harder than my syntonic comma pump loop.
Hey, look, if you have stretched the lattice to make your syntonic comma around 40 cents, you're all right in my book. As we were talking about oneirotonic scales earlier, I'm sure that I've mentioned in a previous podcast how I have used 33 Edo's oneirotonic scale, or more specifically, its oneirotonic generator to generate scales with more than just 8 notes, as sort of a theoretical generator to join all of the important intervals in that tuning together. That also brings it back to the fact that in Into Our Fractal, the piece that we were talking about before. I hear that liquor noise. I heard that. Into Their Fractal, the part that I wrote was in 33 Edo. And here's a little known fact. Probably nobody knows this outside of the Discord. So I think for r/place 2022, if I remember correctly, we tried to make a very small Zen Harmonic Alliance logo that had like the word Zen next to it, literally as small as it could possibly be. And we actually did get it completed on r/place, but it got destroyed by a streamer, obviously. But in loving memory of that, I decided to take the lightness values of the pixels in that and encode them into samples, into pitched percussion samples. And the reason that my 33 Edo riff in that song is in 13/8 time is because the image that we drew on r/place was 13 pixels wide.
That is actually
think.
awesome.
Yeah, except for the outline.
I love that. That goes so well with the secret
Nobody
theme.
thought it was... Nobody respected it at the time.
I love just integrating, like, small things into, like, the math behind music. That's how, like, I got into the band Tool, even though they're 12 Edo. I remember, out of all the people to describe it to me, my martial arts teacher was talking about how the Fibonacci sequence was baked into the time signatures, and I was just hooked. Like, I love it when music does that. It's so fun.
I really love the web that you wrote for the EP, though.
I'm glad that you liked it. I did not spend as much time on it as I should have. But I could say that about half of my music. Half of my music I spend too much time on, and half of my music I don't spend enough time on. I think I've just realized the problem with my life.
Okay, some things. So, I think music is a brilliant medium for experimentation and kind of like trying new things. I wholeheartedly believe that more people should try doing things in their music that they haven't tried before. Like, just mess around. Like, there's so many different audio effects. There's so many different possibilities for how to combine them and put them together. And, like, some that people haven't even thought of because they tell you it's probably gonna make a bad mix. But, like, who cares? Like, if you can make it sound good and it leads you to something you haven't tried before, then that's all that matters. I think that's why I love music so much, because, like, especially with, like, electronic music production, there are so many more things we can convey within the music and, like, experiment with in the music that don't have to do directly with, like, the pitches we're using or the time signature we're using or the rhythms or the instruments or whatever, because there's just, like, so much more. It's, like, so much more open what you can do in the world of digital audio, and I just love that. The other thing is, like, I'm still a bit sad that the song that Inthar and I worked on, which is, I don't even remember the name of it anymore. It was the one right before Into Their Fractal on the Secret EP. I'm still a bit sad that that one hasn't gotten much popularity because, like, in case it wasn't obvious, I am way too addicted to attention and recognition. So obviously, like, when I saw that wasn't the one that was, like, more popular, I was like,
We gotta do more collabs. We have to have, like, some sort of Xendergarten collab project.
I agree with that.
I think that would be great.
I wish I used a different, like, my tonic for my tonic contrapuntal play. Yeah, after that was one of my, like, regrets. I would have flattened the 1 degree or the 2nd degree so that it was 1/18 just to make it more melodically strong.
So about Through the Ruins, I am proud of that, like, that transitional line that I wrote in 11 Edo to try to connect the two halves of that song, because, like, that was one time where I felt like I actually wrote something that was very fluid and not just like random or formulaic, because I always worry that I'll lean towards one of those two things. And the other thing, speaking of the collaborative thing, I think the interesting thing with collaboration is like mixing like the different musical approaches of you and whoever you're collaborating with, providing that you're working directly on the same song. There's different kinds of collabs where you're either all making different stuff for one album or you're actually working together. And I think it might be fun to do a bit of both, but I was just thinking, like, for example, I've wanted to collaborate with Ground before just because we have so vastly different views and approaches on music that I think it would be interesting to see what would happen if that like just meshed together. Like, would it work, or would we just like
Oh
not...
yeah, sure. Says the guy who was like, hey, I like 37 Edo, you like 37 Edo. That's a similarity. Let's do a piece together.
I did say that. I thought that was reasonable enough to like do that.
It's just funny how you were trying to bring us together for our similarities, and yet here you're like, well, it's probably good for us to collaborate because of our differences.
Do it.
Okay, Zeno is totally right, though. The spinning tree in Through the Ruins really did bring it all together. I love that spinning tree. Who made that spinning tree? I love trees.
Zeno Index did.
I love trees. I love trees so much, Guy. I love trees. I have a tree in my house, and soon I'm going to have another tree in my house. I love trees. Trees are good, I think.
Now that I
Fact.
think about it, I feel like it's a bit unfortunate that Into the Ruins is overshadowed by, like, Monsters Under Your Head, because I feel like both of them complement each other so nicely that you sort of need to think of them as, like, almost like two movements of the same piece, because you have like this big moment at the end, like this big panicky moment at the end of Monsters Under Your Head, and the way that it like fades out into the ruins with like the singular spinning tree is like severely underrated. And I think thinking of the album that way allows you to appreciate things that you wouldn't otherwise, because they're quote-unquote not popular.
Well, I really appreciate that you think that. I finally feel redemption for the lack of attention that Through the Ruins has been getting.
You are a Zen harmonist. Attention shouldn't mean anything to you, because you won't be getting it. I know from experience.
True.
The only way you can get attention is if you use, like, 24 Edo, which most people do not want to do in the Zen community.
I refuse to accept that. 24 Edo is a great tuning. 24 Edo is the best semiquartal tuning. I put a whole little thing about it on my Tumblr that explains why 24 Edo is such a good semiquartal tuning. It's great, and it also has really nice... I love 24 Edo's 16, 19, 22 triad. It's kind of like a compressed 5, 6, 7, and it's amazing. And nobody talks about it. 24 is a great tuning.
Good stuff.
Yeah, my issue is that a lot of people treat 24 like 12 with extra steps, which isn't great, because it oversimplifies what it actually can do.
You have to use the semiquartal generator, or shoot, even the Mosh generator if you want to, as the theoretical generator. Because instead of having a contorted tuning where it's 2 circles of fifths, you have one big circle of either semi-fourths or neutral thirds. That's the way you have to do it. Theoretical generators do not get talked about a lot. In 33 Edo, I use an oneirotonic generator. Despite being a diatonic tuning, the oneirotonic generator is better as a theoretical generator because it brings the useful intervals into reach better. That's what the semiquartal generator in 24 Edo does, and people need to realize that. I wish I had realized that back when I started Zen, because from a theoretical perspective, back then and even now, I love 24 Edo. I think it's great. And it took me a long time to figure out how to use it correctly.
Yeah, but 24 is not the best semiquartal because 43 is the best semiquartal.
I will have a rap battle with you later to settle this argument.
Oh no.
Similarly, you can view 21 edo as a theoretical, like oneirotonic, or as a theoretical 87 generated tuning Swendrick, instead of viewing it as like 3 rings of 7 edo bits. Maybe if I will so I'll have to think about some of the multiple tuners that are composites, or medium to large eaters that are composite, in that way. Yeah, interesting food for thought.
Well, you know what they say about food? You should eat it, because if you don't, you'll die. And that's basically what Zen is. If I don't do Zen, I'm gonna die, because I don't have a lot of joy in my life.
And for the kids watching at home, if you don't study, you won't get good grades.
I eat human food.
If you won't study, you would just become sad alcoholics.
Hey, you know what is gonna make me feel better?
Cheers.
So I mentioned earlier that I was going to have a second tree in my house. It's a little baby maple tree that's growing outside of the door to my apartment. I haven't dug it up yet, but I'm going to go outside and make sure it's still there. So you guys carry the podcast for me. I'm going to be back in just a second. I'll be right back. Okay, bye.
Affirmative.
Okay, bye.
Where'd you go? I had to go say hi to the tree. I had to say hi to the tree that was outside by the door. Why? Because I like trees and it's my friend. Okay? You can say hi through the window. You can just leave me alone, why don't you? I had to say hi to my tree. Okay, hi guys, I'm back. Hi.
What was going on? Were you arguing with someone about a literal tree?
I had to go say hi to my tree, and you know what? Sometimes people in my life don't support me, and they don't know why I like trees so much. And they don't know why I have a 5-foot-tall former parasite basswood tree growing in my apartment. But you know what? They're just haters. I think trees are great. They're good.
You know, I support that. In fact, I would say you could even go as far to make yourself a tree sona.
Nice.
How would you personify a tree? How would the different characteristics of a tree be analogous to personality traits and the like?
In the words of Fluttershy, I'd like to be a tree.
Leaves dot push.
Yes.
We're not gonna do the episode 2 joke again. I appreciate referencing past episodes, but the last thing I want is for this podcast to become a time loop. The last thing I want is for this podcast to become a time loop.
Did we reference the leaves.push joke? Because I think it was great, actually.
Yeah.
And then I rewrote that same code in Verilog HDL. We're going to put it up on screen just to show you all the things that are cool about trees.
Trees. Damn, it's funny how ground loves trees.
That's not even the reason why I'm called ground. It's because ground is opposite of sky, and sky is my name. And I don't like me, so I must like ground. But it's true. Ground is where trees come from, and I love trees so much. I love trees.
My tree sona is Blackwood.
That is brilliant.
All right, so just to get the record straight here, in this episode, we've established that I have a ponysona whose cutie mark is a bottle of vodka and a crayon, and Zeno has a tree sona that's Blackwood. Do we have any other sonas? Do we have to get that out of the way before we're done here?
Okay, this is very stupid. I guess you could say that I have a code sona, and it's the symbol for a comment in many programming languages like
Pound
Java
symbol.
and
Oh,
no,
it's the
it's
two
the double.
slashes.
It's the two
Double
slashes.
slash.
That's literally where my profile picture came from. The two slashes, because anything I say is probably unimportant enough that you can comment it out.
That's incredible. I love that so much. You know what my profile picture is? It's an equation from a polynomial series that I discovered when I was like 16 and bored in calculus class, I think. I discovered this polynomial series and it's great. It's genuinely like the one really good mathematical discovery I've made in my life. And I was 16 years old and bored in calculus. So the one that I have is just a very simple one. It's, I think, wait a second. It is, I think, x to the 5th power minus 5 times x to the 3rd power plus 5 times x. That's the equation. It's just what, but as you go up in the orders, it gets very complicated.
My profile pic is Blackwood.
So true.
I was gonna say, the previous 2 languages that I've learned, I instinctively said pound symbol because right now I'm learning Python, and Python uses pound symbol for comments, and the other language that I recently learned this year it's basically, here, let me look it up. I wanna see how the creator described it.
You've given me a brilliant idea. Next April Fools, I'm gonna change my profile picture to a pound symbol instead of double slashes. Thanks for the April Fools
Incredible.
idea.
That's actually really good. For the last April Fools a few months ago, he changed his profile picture to Fluttershy colors, the pastel yellow and pink. And then I changed my profile picture because it's also basically just a line on a background. And so I made that also Fluttershy colors.
I had an April Fool's Day joke this year with my profile, but you would only get it if you knew where I went to college.
This entire podcast had an April Fool's Day joke, and it's called Episode 0. Go check it out. # not sponsored.
Hashtag inspirational.
What am I even saying at this point?
It's funny how this episode is half like a lot of technical stuff, like 31 Edo contours stuff and more numbers and stuff, and half just drunk giggles.
I think we might have actually achieved a more optimal balance of like the vibe with Xendergarten, because like episode 0 was way too wacky, and then episodes 2 and 3 kind of got a little bit too serious. I think this is actually a perfect vibe.
Yeah.
Affirmative.
I can't believe the solution to this problem was alcoholism this whole time.
Incredible.
Yay.
Do not discriminate against beveraged people.
I wouldn't recommend it for every episode.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do it.
Well, now I'm gonna be given mixed signals, and I don't know who to believe here.
Oh, you're giving mixed signals? I'll just do a Fourier transform on you. That's fine.
Do it.
It's pronounced Fourier. I don't respect French as a language, but I have to respect the grind.
True.
Was this a sound of a door or a sound of a cat?
Hey, I had a very, what I think is a very interesting, like, topic, maybe even meta topic, that I want us to talk about right now. And that is the question of are there any, like, correlations between, like, kind of personality or behavior-wise aspects of people that are into Zen? Like, the age-old question, is there, like, how strong really is the connection between being into Zen and being neurodivergent and sort of other tangential stuff like that? And if I recall correctly, Ground is very strongly opinionated about this.
Oh yeah. You also, wait a second. Did you say neurodivergent?
Yes, I did.
Guy who takes the he doesn't take the red pill or the blue pill. He takes the green and a half pill. That's a little callback. He's neurodivergent.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, I think there's a very strong connection between neurodivergence and being into Zen. I mean, shoot, pretty much like honestly, I could probably say the majority of people that I know well enough on this server to kind of know this about them are neurodivergent in some way. I, for myself, am one of those people. What am I talking about? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm definitely not one of those people.
Yeah.
For real.
I was gonna say, regarding neurodivergence, as a kid I had hyperlexia, and it's very common in autistic children like myself at the time. And not only the main, like, quote unquote symptom of it is like a precocious reading age, but also there's a fascination with letters and numbers. And as a kid, I remember being obsessed with numbers and math. And music has also been a big part of my life. So, like, Zen harmonics was kind of like just the perfect combination of the two.
Good stuff.
I share details about my life and I get rickrolled.
Incredible.
Oh,
No.
Nice.
I got shut down. I got shut down. I'm not allowed to play the recorder. I just got shut down. I am not allowed to play the recorder. I have been silenced, and I will not take this agenda of non-recorderism being shoved down my throat. So I'm going to play my recorder anyway. Let's go. All right, yeah, no, I'm too drunk for this. Okay, let's probably put this down, I would think.
I had a friend in high school who she couldn't play the recorder herself, but she could do a really good impression of somebody who does not know how to play recorder playing recorder really badly.
I don't think that's an impression. I'm pretty sure that's just how you actually sound.
If you're gonna play the recorder, play through fire.
Dude, get out of here. I'm recording podcasts. Leave me alone, why don't you? What are you doing in here? Go away.
What am I doing here?
Who?
Play through fire and flames.
No, I'm talking. He's the boyfriend. He's being dumb and stupid.
It would be funny if, like, he just made a cameo here.
All right, let me go get him. All right, they want you on the podcast, guy. Get over here. Okay. Hey,
I just said that as like a
What
joke.
have you
I'm not
done?
the person who wants you here, just to be clear. Okay. You can put the headphones on. I can't hear what's going on, but you can hear what's going on, and that's the microphone. Please talk into it.
I apologize. I was kind of partially joking. But hello. I
Hello.
exist. I just wow. I am very bad at first impressions, aren't I?
Yeah, you are pretty bad.
I'm bad at first impressions, so
Good stuff.
I was gonna say, if my roommate comes into the room while we are still recording, should I just yell at him that he is being recorded on the Xendergarten podcast?
Yeah,
Yes.
just yell
Yes.
on the top of your like voice. Like, you're being recorded.
This reminds me of the time when I said, D2, you are currently being recorded, and his voice was just cutting out so much, and then everyone thought that was hilarious.
are there any rules as to what you can and cannot say on this podcast?
Hey, you know what? If they got rules, I already broke like at least 1.5 of them.
Okay,
so-
shut up, Sky. Anyway, I was just wondering if you could, swear or anything.
Let me liven up the room just a little bit.
Whoever swears is just adding to my workload, just for the record.
Okay, so you can't? Got it. Sky, stop.
Well, people have already swore on here, so there's nothing I can do about that. I can't go back in time. I wish I could go back in time so I could slap my past self in the face for like wasting time on YouTube instead of like actually working on something productive.
True.
God, you sound like Sky. She's always saying, like, I'm not doing something productive. Meanwhile, I'm just kind of laying on the floor doing nothing. But then again, she is playing, she's playing whatever it is on her dumb recorder. What kind of recorder is that?
This is a tenor recorder. It is an octave below the standard soprano that you've been able to find.
I didn't know if it was a bass recorder or not.
It is not. I have a bass recorder, but the bass recorder has more key work, which means that it is louder to operate the keys on, which means it's not as good as for recording. So I use the tenor. I like the tenor. It's good. The problem is that I'm not playing it right now, so let me play it right now.
No. Play a better song if you're going to play. That works.
Incredible.
I don't know how to play the recorder. I'm just...
I don't know how to play the recorder. All right. I apologize. She's very drunk. She did run outside to say hi to a tree.
That tree is my friend.
That tree doesn't know you, okay?
That tree is my friend.
And yet, this is the first time you've introduced yourself.
That tree is my friend, and I do not respect you. Not respect.
You know, I think you have an unhealthy relationship with this tree, given that you think it's your friend, and this is the first time you've talked to it.
I love all of the trees, and by all
that doesn't mean they love you.
Wow. You know what? Give me the vodka. I can't take.
All right, I can go. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
I hope you appreciate that I just rickrolled everyone in Zero Edo on a bottle.
Nice.
Oh, Zero Edo. That's the one I can play. I don't know any other Edos.
Incredible.
You know, at least you admit it. That's where you start. You only get better from there. Hopefully.
I mean, I am in the server. I never talk about anything because I'm not a music theorist. Though, I'm pretty sure my name's something like 12 Edo is the best or something. I can't remember what it is.
Vodka in my eye.
It's J&D is 100 cents if I remember.
Oh yeah, you know me. I don't even know what that means.
It hurts.
I know that because I'm weird, so I look at like everyone's profile like on the side on the server just to see the kind of different people that are in there. I'm just weird like that. It also makes me sad when I see people that are in there that just aren't active at all, but like you can see them there.
Yeah, that's me in most servers, even the servers I'm interested in.
Also, I played Megalovania in Zero Edo just a while ago.
I mean, I could play that song in Zero Edo.
Like this.
Sky, what are you doing? Oh my god.
I got vodka.
I
got vodka in my eye, and it hurts.
Okay. All right, I probably should let Sky come back because I kind of feel like I'm intruding on this podcast.
Frankly, I'm one of the founders of this podcast, and I'm intruding.
Okay, yeah, well, it's because you're drunk. Come back.
Okay, I'm gonna come back now.
All right. Nice talking to you guys. I will appear at a later date.
Bye.
Nice talking to you.
Nice to meet you as well. I know I'm just some random dude on the internet, but it was interesting to meet another person that Ground knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a nice voice. I'll give you that. Anyway, Scott,
I appreciate that.
I'm right here.
You sound like you belong on a podcast. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, bye. I'm taking my headphones off.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, guys.
That's the first time I've been told that I sound like I should be on a podcast. Most of the time, at least online, I just get I sound like NileRed from you guys.
Affirmative.
I don't think he knows who NileRed is, so I think you got lucky there.